In response to Pillar 5 of the National Strategic Plan, whose concern is the emancipation of women, private, public sector, civil society, women organizations, Women in Business established WECONA as an all-inclusive platform of conversation and action centered by the need for 40% procurement set aside for women-owned businesses in public sector. For 2 days, business and government decision makers converge through panel discussions whose topics, among others, included access to funding, skills development, markets at the Department of International Relations and Cooperation.
Very transparent and catalyst for economic development, because if you early stage investment you come right after the entrepreneur has put down their own capital. We've always in the space we always say that once you've taken your money from your family, your friends and other people and the money has run out, now the first layer of people that will back your business are the angel investors. For example, in the last angel fund, one of our investee company, we were the first backer outside capital, and now they have so
President Ramaphosa graced the inaugural WECONA, earlier launched by him in 2021, and explains its importance.
The economic empowerment of women is truly transformational, with far-reaching benefits for our economy as well as the broader South African society. This second Women's Economic Assembly is about turning our words into action, and that is why I like the slogan here, a platform for deliberate action. It is about translating commitments that we have made into reality and also turning promises into concrete action points, action projects, but opportunities, and also creating jobs for the women of South Africa.
Hi, I'm Amina Abid, Head of Operations for FIRE, which is the Foundation for Franchising in Africa. At FIRE, we help empower women through education, funding, and support. We aim to make a real difference in the lives of people that need it most. One of the ways we are doing that is by encouraging and assisting international brands to enter the African market. This initiative will not only expand franchising networks into one of the fastest growing markets in the world, but also help brands make an invaluable social impact.
So franchising creates job opportunities all around. One franchise creates 13 jobs, and we're empowering almost not just one woman, but 13 women above that. So it is a huge initiative, and we're very proud to be a part of it.
Hi, my name is Ruben. I work for a dealership called Zido Cars, and we sell immaculate vehicles to mostly our black women that own small businesses. So just wanted to tell you about our dealership, where we sell great vehicles registered with the MIO, so no structural damage, no mileage tempered, and no stolen vehicles. Lifetime guarantees. So with these small businesses, our ladies that own them has actually come and bought beautiful vehicles as the BMW that you've seen now. They have bought them and they are happier than happy can be.
The Public Servants Association is basically organizing in the public sector and some parastatals. So we are a union that is basically operating in that space. We work with the public servants. We work with the workers in the parastatals, the likes of SARS, CETA, and more. And this is a union that is basically representing workers. We focus specifically on work-related matters, matters that impact on the workers on the ground. We negotiate on their behalf. We negotiate things like salaries and working conditions, and we also represent matters in in labor-related matters. Well, in today's work environment, basically, we see more and more women working. Unlike in the previous days where the majority of workers were basically men, things have changed now. We've got more women represented at the workplace, and obviously these are our members. And as the union that is taking care of its members and representing their members, and as we put our members' interest at heart, we are a union that is advancing the struggle of women. We are a union that is encouraging women to take up their place in the society. We are a union that is supporting women and advancing their rights. We are a union that is encouraging women to grow in the workplace. That is why you find most of the time we will be representing women where there will be disputes about issues of promotions and stuff like that.
At Peu Entle, we meet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday. We meet from 9 o'clock to 2:30. At Peu Entle, we do so funny things. We start by praying when we meet. After that, we do our exercises because we want to age gracefully. That is why we do our exercises in the morning. And on top of that, we thank God for keeping us till this far. When I started this club, it was so difficult because I only started with 3 grannies and 2 gentlemen. And sometimes I used to leave them, attend the meeting of elder people, and then during the day I'll phone, how are you doing? They'll say to me, okay, just relax where you are. We are busy doing our thing like exercising. We start now doing our handwork. We do beading, we do blankets, we do whatever that you can do. For us to meet is to try and alleviate poverty amongst ourselves, because sometimes you'll find that grannies are sitting at home without any food. So at the club, we just collect money and then we buy bread, we make tea, so that when you go home, you mustn't go home in an empty stomach. So that is why we're asking for people to sponsor us so that we can keep our grannies and grandpas busy.
Where do you sell the items you make?
The items we make, sometimes we make a day. We go maybe to our Deneboom station, we put our things there, we sell. But we don't have much space where we can sell. Now, today, I want to say to Nedbank, thank you very much for exposing us.
Minister Zulu names the drivers behind success and available support from the government.
You need to have the necessary information, the right information, in order for you to make a plan. The second step, obviously, is about infrastructure, and that is why the government is so focused now on ensuring that at a district level, the infrastructure is improved. Because the very women I'm talking about, they have to struggle about transport. They have to get into 2 or 3 taxis to get to a point where they are going to be assisted. That's the second thing. The third thing is then, what is it exactly that you want to do, and how do you get the training, if you need training on doing that? Remember, I spoke about the women who now started doing small businesses just out of putting their money together of child support grant and the grant. Now, she was able to then use that money to go and get more information. Once she got the information, she then called on her friends to come and work with her because she didn't have the resources for that. I mean, the necessary resources that were needed. But in her inquiring, where else can she go to? She was told of the Department of Small Business Development. She was told of the Department of Agriculture. And because within the community where she was then assisted by the structures to say, here's the structure, it hasn't been working, but we can tell you where to go to in order for you to revive it and make it useful. She's now producing tomatoes and a whole lot of things. But by the way, she might have produced the tomatoes, but where's the market? Then she had to then also ask, where is she going to be selling the products that she's producing here? I think it was the excitement really of people who supported her because they saw the potential, they saw the drive in her. By the way, I must bring in the other issue of the drive. You've got to be able to have the drive, you have to be committed, you've also got to be able to sacrifice, because she sacrificed. She took child support grant together with the 350 and put that together, which means she had to sacrifice by not buying certain things which she probably needed, but she sacrificed and said she must put the money together. And then she also sacrificed because she called her friends who were also unemployed. The Department of Social Development has what we call the National Development Agency, NDA. That one falls under us as the Department of Social Development, and their role is to empower organizations that are on the ground who are supporting women in business. And the NDA is supportive, for instance, of cooperatives, but we support the organizations so that they can have the capacity of training people who want to be cooperatives. But the rest of small business development really belongs to the Department of Small Business Development, and we work well together.
Thank you, Minister.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We speak to the BEE Chamber and ask for a breakdown on some terms often used and how a small business can benefit from the existence of this body.
My name is Andre Nolfi from the BEE Chamber. The BEE Chamber is the leading BEE consultancy in South Africa. Our role is to ensure that large organizations are applying BEE correctly. That is to ensure that the economy is growing with BEE activity. I think one of the most misunderstood, well, one of the most issues that are misunderstood is that BEE is intended to grow the economy by doing two things. One, that's training through a human capital work stream, and job creation through a supply chain work stream. I don't think there's anyone in the country who would not agree that we don't need to create jobs and we don't need to train South African people. Our role is to ensure that that happens in a way that it positively impacts the country. Essentially, there are three differentiating factors for small business versus large business. We've got an exempt micro enterprise, which is under 10 million rand turnover. There are derivatives and there are variations of that, but generally speaking. The next is a qualifying small enterprise, known as a QSE, from 10 to 50 million. And then after that is a generic or large enterprise, which is 50 million and plus. Each of those scorecards look different. The exempt micro enterprise gets an automatic level. The qualifying small enterprise can get an automatic level if they are black owned. So from 51% black owned, there is an opportunity to get a level 2 just by being 51% black owned. As a large enterprise, you have to do the full scorecard. The elements within the full scorecard are ownership, management control, skills development, ESD, which is enterprise and supply development. That's broken down into procurement, enterprise development, supply development, and socioeconomic development. Now, for each of those elements, there are targets set, and you are scored based on your achievement of each of those targets. With regards to the large enterprises, there is certainly a requirement for them to contribute towards the small businesses, because we can understand that a small business is where jobs are going to be created, where skills are going to be transferred, or where transfer skills are going to be used. So the scorecard in itself is quite complex, if to break that down into more of the micro. I think if there's one message I want to give to the ladies that are here, is that understand the BEE scorecard, because there's a lot of potential for small black-owned businesses to gain funding, to get help through the BEE scorecard. And even speaking to some of the ladies here, they're not aware of that.
Ntandokazi Kapa from the Salga Women's Commission chairperson, please may I ask that you're making your way to the stage as well as this, calling out your names. Mr. Mikhail Mabasa, who's from NAMSA, Claire Reid from Real Gardening, Mr. Eustace Mashimbe from Proudlist SA, Ms. Aletta Miller, the UN Women representative of SAMCO, Sean Goldsmith from the Franchising Association of South Africa, Joan Marie Fubs from the South African Farmers Development Association, and Ms. Ntutu Mutseha, who is a beef farmer.
Organizations line up to pledge for WECONA. I'm Cassia Kulu. For business and entrepreneurial sector news, Connect World TV, Pretoria.